Today, inflation, which was at 9.7%, is at 2.7%, the lowest in 17 years.
Speaking while he presided over the closing of the Jamhuri National Trade Fair, the DP said the stability of the Kenyan shilling against the dollar has contributed to the drop in fuel and basic food commodities.
Today, the prices of fuel have been stable and decreasing every month. Today, the prices of essential commodities, foodstuffs, are reducing, especially maize flour and other staple foods. And therefore, the macroeconomic situation looks good. Not to forget, in the same vein, that the interest rates for the middle class who are looking for money to expand their businesses are going down every day.
He also highlighted the government's commitment to creating more jobs to increase household income, even as he flagged over a cohort of Kenyan workers heading to Qatar, with 300 set to leave for Qatar tonight.
This is the most consequential program that the government can do to its people. Finding opportunities for young people. You don't know how many families are touched by this event today. You have no idea. So I'm not worried about people who are criticizing, and I'm wondering why a Kenyan should criticize a fellow Kenyan who has got a job.
Labour Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua, who was also present at the event, urged Kenyans to ignore those criticizing the state-led overseas job initiative, highlighting the opportunities the program presents to Kenya's young people.
My job as a minister is to make sure that you're not conned. If you've paid a deposit and you failed your medicals, then you get back the remaining money that you need to get. You don't get conned. And Your Excellency, we are sending a crew with this team so that we can actually show them in Qatar, working in Qatar. Ndio watu wanaosema ni stories za jaba, wameze wembe.
The government has also committed to creating more than 282,000 jobs in the last 2 years, with 7,700 set to leave by early January, while 8,000 will travel by March 2025. Edwin Mbogwa, K24.
Now, the case surrounding the murder of Rex Masai, a Gen Z youth allegedly shot and killed by police during the 2024 anti-finance bill demonstrations, resumed today at the Milimani Law Courts in Nairobi. Officer Isaiah Ndumba, accused of being at the scene, vehemently denied being at the CBD at that particular time. Ndumba maintained that his name was wrongfully implicated by unknown individuals. Rex's father, Crispin Odao, on the other hand, testified to the court about his son's death. He recounted how he was watching the protest on a television when he learned that his son had been shot during the protests. Odao said he first received the news of his son's death through social media.
Appearing before Magistrate Geoffrey Onsarigo, Ndumba rejected claims that he was present in the city during the protests and that his name was wrongfully implicated.
Did you have any other weapon except the Jericho pistol that you've informed court?
No.
Despite the heated protests, Ndumba denied firing tear gas or engaging in any violent actions during the demonstrations. Still on the same, Crispin Odao, Rex's father, recounted the events leading to his son's death. Odao says he received a devastating call from his wife, Julian Munyao, at around 7 p.m., informing him that Rex had been shot and taken to hospital.
Central Police Station.
How did you know? They are from Central.
They identified themselves.
To whom?
To us. They are from Central Police Station. They have been sent to come and pick the body to City Mortuary.
Did you know, were you able to, when you say they identified themselves, did they identify themselves by name?
Not by name. They just said they are from Central Police Station and they are sent to pick the body to City Mortuary.
At a Nairobi hospital where Rex had been rushed to, Odao says he found his son's lifeless body in a room covered in blood. It did not take long before the doctor informed them that Rex had succumbed due to excessive bleeding caused by a gunshot wound on his left thigh. A postmortem conducted on June 21st faced delays as police officers initially failed to show up. It was only after Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna called the officers in the presence of the family that they arrived at noon. The postmortem conducted by a government pathologist and a family doctor provided by IPOA revealed that Rex died from excessive bleeding caused by a gunshot wound. Rex Masai was the first Gen Z to have been allegedly shot by police during anti-government protests in June this year in Nairobi City, with pressure still mounting on the government to serve justice for families that lost their loved ones. Elected Order K24 TV.
At least 20 banks will be forced to up their game and meet the 10 billion core capital requirements for banks and mortgage financing institutions by 2029. This follows the signing of the Business Law Amendment Bill by President William Ruto today. Among other bills signed is the Tax Procedures Amendment Act, which amends the Tax Procedures Act Cap 469, aimed at enhancing and, of course, forming the nature of the electronic tax invoices. In a bid to ensure the full implementation of the bottom-up economic agenda and ensuring the protection of Kenyans taking loans from digital lenders, President William Ruto has today assented 7 bills at State House, Nairobi. Among the bills assented is the Business Law Amendment Bill, which amends the Banking Act Cap 488 to have all banks and mortgage financing institutions in a steady footing with a minimum funds base of 10 billion shillings by the year 2029. The current core capital requirement for banks is 1 billion shillings, with only less than 5 banks being able to meet the 10 billion mark. Under this new amendment, the Central Bank of Kenya will have the powers to sanction institutions that fail to adhere to the guidelines, which include a fine of up to 20 million shillings. The bill also amends the Central Bank Act Cap 491 with the non-deposit taking credit providers, which include mobile loan applications that are largely unregulated, replacing digital lenders. This seeks to expand the regulatory framework to ensure credit providers are regulated and consumers are protected. In a bid to seal loopholes and ensure small businesses and small-scale farmers declare accurate turnovers, the Tax Procedures Amendment Bill provides for reverse ticketing for the purpose of ascertaining tax liability. Under the same bill, Tax Procedures Bill Cap 469 has been amended to enhance the clarity on the format and nature of electronic tax invoices. The Tax Law Bill will amend the provisions of the Income Tax Act, the Value Added Tax Act, the Excise Duty Act, and the Miscellaneous Fees and Levies Act. The amendments provide tax reliefs to employees and retirees, enhance benefits to employees, promote the local manufacturing and agricultural sector and local farmers, incentivize home ownership and promote housing and settlement, promote trade between Kenya and other states, as well as mobilize domestic resources and enhance the taxation regulatory framework. Now, it is a blow to the government as the High Court Judge Bahati Mwamuye issued orders suspending President William Ruto's directive compelling 34 government institutions to join the e-Citizen platform. This is after Katiba Institute moved to court yesterday to challenge the directive. Katiba Institute argues that the directive by the president is illegal, adding that there was no public participation. Further, they argue that there are members of the public who are unable to access government payment services by themselves and that those people will be subjected to exploitation from third parties. The institution now wants the court to issue orders quashing the Gazette notice and the directive issued by President William Ruto to the government agencies to onboard the e-Citizen payment platform. The president, during the first anniversary of the e-Citizen Directorate at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi, warned the agency's chief executive officers to comply or face tough consequences. Kenya today marked the end of the 2 days inaugural Human Rights Summit themed Upholding Human Rights are Changing Kenya. As part of the summit's broader outreach efforts, High Court judges have commenced public lectures at select law schools across the country aimed at bridging the gap between the theoretical knowledge imparted in a classroom and the practical application of the law in real-world human rights cases. Alano with that report.
Everybody challenging a decision of Parliament.
In what has always been seen as a frosty relationship between two arms of government, the judiciary and the legislature today got an opportunity to interact head-to-head, with judicial officers putting National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula to task on issues affecting effective dispensation of justice. Wetangula, however, questioned the rationale behind the issuance of conservatory orders without giving the accused a right to reply, adding that it was unfair seeing that most cases lodged against the legislature had him enjoined as a respondent.
When there was a process of impeaching a former deputy president, I was sued 29 times. I was the first respondent in each of the suits. The court gives conservatory orders in June and says, come back in September, without hearing the other side. As a person who has been sued, my human rights are violated. And I keep on writing to the CJ to say, sue me as many times as you can, but give me a fair hearing.
Among issues raised by the judges were the budgetary constraints witnessed at the judiciary at the expense of a load of execution expected of them, a matter which Wetangula said had been occasioned by numerous circumstances, one of them being the collapse of the Finance Bill 2024.
Isn't there a way as Parliament that you could appropriate a percentage so that as we continuously take justice outside, we also, our budgets keep increasing?
I know how scattered the judiciary is across the country. So is Parliament. Perhaps you don't know that we run an office in each electoral constituency in the country. Parliament pays for an office and employs staff for each member of Parliament for constituency-based and county-based members. Senators and women reps, and then members of Parliament.
The judges, too, raised issues on welfare matters, questioning why other jurisdictions like Ghana provided housing for their judges, yet in Kenya, they tax a housing levy, yet they're expected to pay for their own rent.
In Ghana, the judiciary, other than building courthouses, they build residence for judges and judicial officers. So we have a situation where we are paying for a housing levy, and we are paying for rent for our own houses. Where now how does the government place us as judges?
Closing the two-day summit was Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu, who asked judiciary officials to take time and reflect on whether some, if not all, the issues the public say about the judiciary are a true depiction of their day-to-day conduct.
But I have a few reflections. For us to go and think, I wish we had the time to think together here and see whether, by chance, any of the many things said about us might be true. Any. We took an oath of office.
Alan Wino for K24.
We take our second breather now. We'll be back in a moment.
Mozart Casino Jackpot. Zungusha gurudumu la furaha. Kuwa mshindi. Mozart Bet.
Baada ya kutumia damu ya Yesu na mwili wa Yesu Kristo, shine, shine, shine. You shine and you shine. And just in the name of Jesus.
Now, thank you for staying with us. Kenya's democratic standing is increasing.